pin up poster girls. No, these are things that we know, generally speaking, there are things that there are activities that are identified as pertaining to a man's world. A man's realm is another term that they would use. We're just going through these different definitions so that you can see. When I open up with saying there are over 14 different definitions for the word world, I'm not throwing a random number out. There are over 14 different definitions for the word world. So when you read the scriptures for St. John chapter 3 verse 16, which one is it using? That's your job to find out. And then the only way to find it out is to read the rest of the scriptures concerning the word world. And then it lets you know. Go ahead.
Finally, the insect world.
Then it has the actual insect world. Now this is funny because that's all that has, the insect world. But now we can go into some more worlds that we know about the back. We can go into Sea World. That's where they got places that are aquatic entertainment. In other words, you can go and watch an Edomite stand on the back of a killer whale and jump through an iron hoop. You can go watch an Edomite ride 2 dolphins on their back like as if it was a surfboard. You can sit back and watch some Edomite lady with a fish in her mouth or in her hand, and the killer whale comes up on the edge of the swimming pool, takes the little fish out of the girl's hand, and backs back in. They call those places Sea World. Okay? An aquatic theme park. You know what? They made a movie way a while back. I think Mike Myers was in it. They called it Wayne's World. And it was about this wannabe rocker dude and his homeboy that was what? It was all about the things concerning their life in the pursuit of becoming musical rock musicians, rock stars. But they called the movie Wayne's World. It was about his life. It was about his aspirations. It was about his letdowns. In other words, these are all the terms. Now let me say this. We didn't read it, it didn't mention it, but you also have the term world that can be used to describe developmental stages. They call countries that are, quote, in the stage of developing countries. Another term or another name for the term developing countries is called what? Third world countries. We're in one of them. We're in Guatemala. Guatemala is considered part of the third world. Okay, what were the first world? They refer to America as one of the first world powers. So you got all these different terms or definitions, or if another person would call it interpretation of the word world. Which one was John 3:16 talking about? Is that it on the definitions?
Yes or no?
Let's go back and read the word or the verse, St. John chapter 3:16 now.
Okay. St. John chapter 3 verse 16.
Let me keep the voice.
Yeah. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son.
So for God so loved the world, and this is something else we're going to call to your attention. For God so loved the world, singular. When you read that verse, the word world is spelled W-O-R-L-D, singular. Now we're going to take you to some verses where in this very same Bible, where it shows you that the word world is used in a plural tense, W-O-R-L-D-S, as in more than one. So when it says for God so loved the world, it's letting you know there's only one world that he loved. Read on down.
For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son.
Hold on. He didn't live in the ancient world. So then for God so loved, Christ came, he said that he gave his only begotten Son. And since the Most High gave his only begotten Son during the time of about, we're going to call it 4 BC, up until 4 AD, 1 BC, they always put in history books 1 BC/4 BC, because it's an approximation of about the time that Christ was born up until the end of his death, approximately 33 AD. Now, that's considered the ancient world. So if we know that one of the uses for the word world can be talking about a period of time, how do you know it's not saying God only loved the ancient world? Because it does say for God so loved the world, and one of the definitions said that it could be referring, and then it even gave what? The old world as an example. So, is that the one he's talking about? It said for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, but another use of the word, another definition was what? The world and the globe, the earth, called the globe. So did he love the whole world? Did he love the entire globe? We're going to find out. Read it again.
For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life.
So now let's go to the book of Hebrews, chapter 11. Now we're going to go to Hebrews chapter 1. We're going to go to Hebrews chapter 1, and we're going to read verses 1 and 2. And the reason we're going to Hebrews chapter 1, verses 1 and 2 is because we want to establish, we're going to use this verse to establish that within the Bible, there also is a use of the word world in the plural sense. Okay, you'll find it twice, both in the book of Hebrews. So that means if God loved it, and let me say this, the Most High knows what He's doing. He knows how He left His word to be received of us, or received by us. So we understand when He say world singular in one sense, it is understood that He's speaking in a singular sense. And when He says world plural in another sense, it is for us to understand that He's intentionally trying to get us to understand it in a plural sense. Are you there?
Yeah.
Go to Hebrews chapter 1, verses 1 and 2.
Hebrews chapter 1, verses 1 and 2. God, who at sundry times...
It says God, who at sundry times, the term sundry means various. God who at various times, go ahead.
And in diverse manners.
Diverse means different. Manners means ways. So God who in various times and in different ways or in different manners, go ahead.
Spake in time past unto the fathers.
In the time past, the Most High would speak to our forefathers
by the prophets.
Using the prophets. That's what the book of Isaiah, the book of Jeremiah, the book of Ezekiel, the book of Daniel, the book of Hosea, the book of Joel, the book of Amos, the book of Obadiah, Malachi, Zechariah, Zephaniah, Haggai, Nahum, Habakkuk. All of these prophets, the Most High sent them out, not only prophesying against other kingdoms, but in general, speaking to Israel. So it says, God who in sundry time and in diverse manners spake to us in the past by His prophets. In other words, He spoke to Israel using the prophets as a tool to communicate to us. Go ahead.
Verse 2. Having these last days.
Now this is the book of Hebrews written by Paul. So he said, in these last days, meaning having more recently, in these more recent times,
spoken unto us by His Son.
In other words, in the times past, He spoke to us by the prophets, but more recently, He sent His own Son to speak to us. Go ahead. Who like Yahushua, Jesus Christ, who the world ignorantly refers to as Jesus Christ. Go ahead.
Whom He have appointed heir of all things.
Who the Most High have appointed heir, meaning He's the person that is to inherit all things. Go ahead.
By whom also.
By whom, meaning Christ was used. Go ahead.
He made the worlds.
He made the what?
The worlds.
Now, He made the worlds. Now, how could you spell the word? Could you spell the word worlds in this verse, Hebrews chapter 1, verses 2 right now you're reading? Go ahead.
W-O-R-L-D-S.
W-O-R-L-D-S. Now, why did it say He used Christ, who is the heir of all things, to create the worlds, plural? So, is that telling us that there's another world out there? That there's another place for other human beings? You know what that's referring to? That's referring to all the kingdoms that the Most High had set up. When you read Daniel chapter 7, it tells you about 4 kingdoms that the Most High was going to raise up. Hold on. One of those kingdoms and it was the 4th, it talks about 4. The succession of kingdoms were the Babylonians, the Persian and Median Empire, the Babylonian Empire, the Persian Median Empire, and then it said the Greek Empire, and then it said the Roman Empire. Now, that's found in Daniel chapter 2, it's found in Daniel chapter 7, it's found in Daniel chapter 8. So, you have all of these verses that talks about kingdoms. But then when you look at it as a source of, these were prophecies. So when you go and find out to verify if those prophecies came to pass, you can refer to references, historical references. Now, I'm going to show you something. When he said He set up all the worlds. Read that verse again.
Verse 2. Having these last days spoken unto us by His Son, whom He have appointed heir of all things, by whom also He made the world.
So when He said He made the world, what were some of the worlds Christ was responsible for establishing? We have here a book that is titled Atlas of the Roman World. Now, what is this book about? Well, it's about everything concerning Rome, from its conception, from when the Etruscans were taken over